Hey everyone, my name is Jimmy with Swiss Realty here. I'm an investor agent here in the Columbus, Ohio market. I help investors find their next buy and hold, BRRRR, flip, or short-term, midterm rental here in Columbus, Ohio. But in today's video, what we're going to do is we're going to go over a very important investor lesson that I want to run you guys over today. And on top of that too, I'm going to go over a client deal that I recently closed on with one of my clients where they net over $200 a month a door. And on top of that, they have over $50,000 in built-in equity from this one single family house. So we're going to go over two things today. But first, we're going to start off with the investor lesson of the day. So in this lesson, I want to teach you guys that building financial freedom, it's all about base hits, okay? It's all about the singles, the doubles, and that's really how you build financial freedom. And I have a lot of investor clients where they're looking for that home run deal. They're looking for a deal that hits the 70% rule. They're looking for a deal that is near turnkey in a A+ neighborhood. That also is a new build construction house that was built in the 2010. So that's the thing though, is if you're waiting for that home run deal, it's never going to come, and you're going to be sitting on the sidelines for a very, very long time. And what I will let you know is real estate, it's all about trade-offs essentially. And to find that deal that hits all those criterias, it's not possible. You have to understand that if you want to find investment deals and buy real estate, you have to understand that there's trade-offs. Instead of maybe an A+ neighborhood, you might have to be okay with the C neighborhood or a C+ neighborhood, or you might have to be okay with $100 or $200 net a door, or maybe that's a older house like that was built in the 1920s even. So again, there's always trade-offs when it comes to real estate. You also have to remember too, your returns only get better year to year, whether that's rental increases. So again, next year you're going to get more cash flow, you're going to get appreciation, you're going to get principal pay down, you're going to get depreciation. So again, your returns only get better year to year. And even if you buy a house that's, let's say, netting $100, $200 net a door, your returns are going to get much, much better over the next few years. And if you give it 10 years worth of time, of 10 years worth of rental increases, 10 years worth of appreciation, 10 years worth of principal pay down, 10 years worth of depreciation, that house that's netting $100 or $200 net a month right now, it's going to be easily netting $800 in 10 years. It's going to be appreciated over six figures in equity. And also on top of that, you probably have paid a ton off of the principal, and you have written off a ton of taxes off in that 10-year span of time as well too. So basically, what I'm trying to say is this right here. You have to understand that if you buy a house that's netting some positive cash flow and it's in a good location where the numbers make sense, that's a perfect base hit. And if you just keep stacking these year to year, whatever you can afford, maybe it's one house a year, two houses a year, but you just consistently do that over a long enough time span, you will become financially free. But you have to remember, it's all about the base hits. It's not about the home runs, okay? But with that being said, in today's example, we're going to go over an amazing base hit done by one of my own clients, which obviously I was the agent for this deal. But essentially, they have a deal where they're netting over $200 net a cash flow a month, and on top of that, they are their house has over $50,000 in built-in equity. So we're going to go over this example today to kind of give you an example of what a perfect base hit is. Okay, so the deal that we're going to be looking at right here is 3483 Ontario Street, Columbus, Ohio 43224. So it's a 3-bedroom, 1-bath, single-family house here in Columbus, Ohio. It's 925 square feet. The thing is, in this deal, I know there's no like photos and all that, so we can't really see how the interior looks, but I do remember this deal. It was near turnkey, needed probably $5,000 worth of work. But again, the kitchen was updated, the bathroom was updated, the flooring looked great. There's new paint. The house looks honestly rent ready, but it definitely needed a tiny bit of update. So I would say probably needed like $5,000 worth of updates or so, or give it 10 if you really want to be a little conservative. But again, $5,000 to $10,000 in renovations, that was pretty much all it needed. So this deal right here was a deal obviously that I closed with my clients. But with that being said, and just to also kind of read off the property description, It's a well-maintained 3-bedroom, 1-bath ranch home. There's been key updates, so newer roof, furnace, water heater, and it's currently occupied by tenants paying $950 a month. And their lease expires on December 1st, 2023, and curb offers only. So again, that's why there's obviously no photos. But going to this deal right here, so we're going to use the deal analysis calculator right here. So it's a 925 square feet. And the price that my client closed this deal on is $135,000. And obviously they're doing 20% down because this is an investment property. Whenever it comes to an investment property, you will have to typically put 20 to 25% down. If you want to do less than 20%, that's because you're owner occupying the property. But if you're buying it as an investment property, minimum will be 20% down. They will, when it comes to closing fees, here in Columbus, Ohio, at least, you're typically looking at anywhere from around 1.5% for closing fees. This is obviously like title work, anything, closing fees essentially, but you're looking at 1.5% of the purchase price. That's my rule of thumb, I would say. And then purchase price amount, $27,000, which is 20% of 135. And on top of that, closing fees, you're looking at $2,000. That's from 1.5% of the purchase price. And then repairs estimate is $5,000. So the mortgage interest rate that they were looking at, again, just using a ballpark number, 6.71% from, again, what we're seeing right now. And obviously you want to use a 30-year amortized loan because you want the lowest PITI possible, especially when it comes to investment property. So because there's currently, when they bought it, obviously, there were currently tenants right there at $950 a month, which is way under rented. So if we look at the market rent report right here, we see that there's houses, you don't see $950 at all. So it's way under rented. So what my client's plan was obviously wait for their lease to finish up because, again, it's an annual lease. After it finishes up, they're going to bump them up to market rents. And what we see right here when it comes to market rents is easily $1,400 a month minimum. The reason why is because we see right here, so when I pull rent comps, I typically look for 0.5 mile radius. Obviously, the less is better in this case, but right here we see a comp that's pretty much the exact same as this house. It's $1,400 a month in rent. It's 888 square feet, so if anything, it's a little smaller than our house. And on top of that, it's a 3-bedroom, 1-bath, single-family house. So this is a perfect rent comp, and we see this person charging $1,400 a month in rent. So we're like, okay, that's obviously the market rent. So that's what we'll be using in this situation. So $1,400 a month in rent. Obviously, we can shoot for higher, but as you can see, this comp right here isn't the best comp because, again, it has 600 square feet more than our house. So obviously, they can charge much more in rent, so it doesn't make sense to obviously be at $1,600. That's a little crazy. I think this one right here, it's 892 square feet. This one, we have an argument for it, but I would say if you want to be conservative, and again, I recommend conservative, obviously, I would say $1,400-$1,500 if you really want to push it. So $1,400-$1,500 I think is perfect, especially in the area that it's in. It's a great area and super residential as well too, especially in 43224. So yeah, so we're gonna, if anything, you know what, we'll do 1,450, we'll do 1,500, just to be a little conservative. So now looking at the expenses, we see the mortgage right here. So the principal and interest, this is $697.62. Property taxes, which I pulled from the auditor site right here, which I see right here, it's $1,907. Obviously divide that by 12, and then we have $158.91. So that's our property taxes per month. And then next we have insurance. So typically when it comes to a house of this size, which we're looking at a purchase price of $135K, which again is very, very normal here in Columbus, Ohio. I would say your monthly insurance, based on a lot of deals I've closed and a lot of the deals I've seen with my other clients, we're looking at $75 a month when it comes to insurance. Insurance here in Columbus, Ohio is very, very cheap. Then looking at repairs and maintenance. So I always recommend when it comes to reserves to do 8-5-5. So 8% for your property management, 5% for your repairs and maintenance, and also your CapEx together. So 5% for that, and then 5% for vacancy. The reason why I always suggest 855 is because you want to be conservative, but you don't want to be too overly conservative. Because if you're overly conservative, there will never be a deal that works for you. Because again, even if you saw a deal that hits the 2% rule, it would still be a crappy deal because again, you're being way too conservative. I've seen clients that have used 10% for maintenance, 10% for capex, 10% for vacancy, and I'm like, whoa, like that's crazy. The reason why, because again, those are way too conservative numbers, which in my opinion, 855 is conservative, but it's not too conservative. So I do suggest that. And then obviously we have 8% for our property management, which stated earlier, and then we have 5% for our vacancy. So, and then on top of that, so that's pretty much our deal analysis right there. So that's our deal analysis. We see our mortgage, we see our loan amount, we see our down payment, and we see our cash to close for our client at $34,000. So what we see here is our NOI is $12,000. We have a 9% cap rate. Our DSCR is a 1.44, which again, numbers look amazing. 9% cap rate. Where can you find a deal like that? So gross income, monthly expenses, our NOI is $1,000. So what NOI means is how much we make after operating expenses. The thing is, this doesn't account for debt service. After our debt service, we are cash flowing over $304, $304.47, and every year we're making $3,653 net cash flow alone. So yeah, that's freaking amazing. This is incredible of a deal. One single family house making $304 net a month in Columbus, Ohio. That's incredible, honestly. So a deal like this, it's insane. And on top of that too, you have to remember your returns get better year over year. So year one, we're making rental income of, so total cash flow in year one, $3,654. Year two, $4,126. And you can see your cash on cash return every year gets better every year because again, you have to remember rents increase every year. So because of that, your cash on cash, it just gets better over year. So again, we can see right here that every month we're making over $300 net cash flow for our client. Second thing I wanted to really quickly run over with you is with this deal, it's not just a cash flow play, it's an appreciation play as well too. So I pulled up comps earlier, and obviously whenever I pull ARV comps, I always want to use within 0.5 mile radius. And on top of that too, the same bedrooms, bathrooms, and very similar square footage as well too. Here with this house that we're looking at, we have comps that are a little over 200K. We have a 3-bedroom, 1-bath, single family house that's 1,110 square feet. It's 100 square feet more than ours, so a little bit higher, but still, this comp sold for $215,000. That's incredible, honestly. Obviously, because it's a little bigger, I would say you're probably looking at more so like 200K. This one's 1,100 square feet. Let's see. Yeah, 1,100 square feet, pretty much same thing, a little over 200K as well too, but it's a 3-bedroom, 1-bath, single family house. It looks awesome. It's completely renovated. It's a perfect ARV comp from what you can see in the photos, but essentially our ARV for this house is pretty much 200K at this point, and we bought it at 135K. So let's say my client decides to go all out, does a complete renovation to try to get this, as beautifully renovated as possible so they can sell it. Let's say they put in 15, 20K in renovations. They would easily have over 50K in equity in this one deal alone. So because of that, this is what I mean when I say this is a perfect base hit. With this one deal, my client is netting over $300 a month in cash flow. And on top of that, they have over $50,000 in built-in equity. That is as good as a home run hit, or not home run hit, but a base hit as it gets. This is an incredible of a deal. And because of that, that's what I tell all my clients. You want to look for base hits, not home runs. So again, this is a perfect example of that. But aside from that, that was the video today. Want to run you guys over a really quick example deal that I closed with my clients. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. But aside from that, my name is Jimmy with Swiss Realty here in Columbus, Ohio. I help investors find their next buy and hold, BRRRR, flip, or short-term, midterm rental here in Columbus. I've done over 20 million in terms of real estate sales. So again, if you have any questions or any want to work with an investor agent, definitely hit me up. I would love to work with you guys, and I would love to get that started. But aside from that, thank you so much for taking time to watch the video. Let me know if you have any questions, and make sure to comment below. Thank you very much.